Good evening, everybody. What's good? Hey,
What's going on?
woo. It is Thursday, March 21st. Happy New Year to some people. Happy spring to
Yeah,
others on the 19th.
yeah,
It's just new, bright. The sun is out. The birds are chirping. The days are starting to creep up and get a little longer. I'm really excited. And
yes,
tonight is Quiet Dominance. This is
yeah,
the third installment of
yes.
our BDSM series. We got the art of dominance tonight.
Oh,
The
we
last
are
few, me and Keisha been pumped about this all week. Like since we made the announcement.
all week. And we done started before we even started, y'all. So I hope y'all are ready.
Oh my gosh. So I'm super excited. Before we get into it, how has your weekend been, Keisha? Or how's your week been up to now? So say,
So
say.
my manager has been in a training all week. And
Mhm.
so luckily, who's the manager on duty?
Yeah.
But mind you, I still have to do my work, right? So therefore, it's been very interesting and crazy. Today I got nothing done. I work with a bunch of men that are acting like 5 year olds today.
Oh,
And oh my God, he didn't give me this. And why he not talking to me on this? And I'm like, are y'all freaking kidding me? Like, are y'all crazy? So I am so happy tomorrow's my half day. I am going to go on a mini vacation and I am so ready for it before the last week of the month, which is going to be very, very crazy.
right.
So, Miss Brittany, how, aka Coach, okay, nobody call her Coach but me, okay?
Right. Yeah.
How was your week?
My week has been pretty crazy at work. It's just been a lot. I can't wait to I got a project that's been getting on my nerves, but I can't wait for it to be over. And so that I can take a little vacation and break and abscond off with somebody, you know.
Ah,
Yeah. Um, so yeah, so I want to get into tonight. So the reason why we're super excited about tonight is because we're doing the art of dominance. So like I said before, it's our third installment of our BDSM series, which will be ongoing throughout the year. We're gonna take a break in the next couple of months from it and then come back to it. But we started off in January doing the art of submission, where we got to speak to some lovely subs, some baby girls, some brats, and got some information from their perspective, which was great. Loved it. Amazing show. And then on February, we had BDSM 101, where we got an amazing demonstration. If you missed that, you definitely need to go back and tune in and check, your Amazon and all that. Get order some stuff like
absolutely.
get you some knowledge. There was also a test that we kind of introduced everybody to, the BDSM test. So definitely that. So tonight is actually Art of Dominance. So we talked to the subs already, the baby girls and the brats. Now we're talking to the doms and the
Yeah,
masters and
yeah.
everything like that. So it's really excited to bring that dominant energy in. Really
And
excited.
remember, everybody, as we're talking about this, consent, 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 safety, safety, safety. And we are representing ourselves and not the organizations, careers that we are attached to. Okay, so please do keep that in mind. Consent, 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 safety, safety, safety. And do me a favor, if you're watching, share this because we want
Absolutely.
everybody in here. It's on YouTube, it's here. Like, share it. Like, we want to reach everybody that we can. So, share it and let's get into it.
Yes, and also another disclaimer, anything that you hear tonight, if it interests you in any way, please do your research. Please
Yes.
do your research. Do not just run out and start doing things to people and mess around and hurt yourself or
Or,
somebody else. Please,
or
please
catch a
research.
case.
There are going to be some terms we're going to throw at you. We're going to talk about some topics that we may not be able to dive too deep into. We might just touch the surface of a little bit. So again, if you hear anything, feel free to reach out to anybody that's on the panel today, or do your own research. Definitely.
Absolutely. And if you
So
have a question that you don't want everybody to know, inbox Real Boys Talk or myself. I said hi to everybody, and then I will ask the question, and nobody has to know that you asked the question.
Absolutely. And towards the end, we're going to do a Q&A. So if you do have any questions and you feel bold enough to ask, definitely feel free to do that. So I want to introduce the two DOMs that we have. So they're going to come up on now. So everybody, please welcome. We're going to start with Captivator, who's coming back with us again. And then we also have they're coming with us one more time as well. So hello, how's everybody doing and feeling tonight?
Great.
Good.
I'm ready.
Always.
Y'all ready? Ready? Okay.
I don't want no smoke from nobody.
You know, no smoke for nobody. Okay, all right.
I got you.
It's y'all two today. Okay. So I kind of want to go off like and just ask a couple questions and um I guess the first one would be how long have you been in the lifestyle or in the community?
In a lifestyle. Some people like to call it a love style. It is definitely off and on, but for the most part, about 15 years. Yeah, 15, 16 years.
Okay.
So I'd say probably my experience levels have been for 7 years.
7 years. Okay. Honestly. So in being so are we correct, and we're talking again, this is terminology, people, so we have different D types, so could you explain what your D type is and kind of go through there if there's multiple types that you assign yourself to? Anyone
Go
can
ahead
start.
first.
I think I have multiples. So I don't always go by a dom. I do go by a master a lot more. And it's a sensual master. So I am now starting to get more into the bondage piece. Based off of actually watching the show, it gave me some like, wow, I'm interested in this. So I'm doing a little bit more studying on that end. But I also am primal, and I'm what they call a high desire, which means that how I am with you on day one, I keep that same energy years down the line. That same if I am into you at that moment that we meet and I'm into you through, I will continue to keep that energy going on. So if we nasty in the beginning, we're gonna be nasty throughout the whole relationship kind of thing. We can be a little vanilla here and there, but those are pretty much my three main that I kind of float in.
Okay. What about yourself, Captivator?
So I am known as a dom. Primarily a daddy dom, which has to deal with a lot of age play and brat taming, that type of fun thing that everyone loves to hate. Takes a lot of patience. Also a sensual dom. So I deal with a lot of mind play and sensual, so the touch, feel, sight type thing. And then also impact play, so kind of an impact dom. So a lot of the things such as the tickling, the feathers, the whips, things like that that people are into. But it all kind of falls under the daddy dom spectrum because you're kind of doing all of that in one, essentially, for the most part.
Okay. Keisha, did you have any questions?
Yes. Have you ever owned a sub before, like a brat, baby, anything like that?
Just
Oh, I haven't. I'm trying. Look, I'm open to it.
Yeah, I hear
But
that.
I just learned that I have what is it? The brat tamer
Mhm.
kind of topic.
Yes, you do, Cupid.
So I'm just learning that. But so I have not experimented in that field. So I can also say no, I haven't owned anybody at this time.
You should get into that. It's very interesting.
So is that a yes, Cap?
Yes and no. So you to just full out own someone in reference to like a contract of having just a sub to own, no. But in reference to an understanding of a relationship dynamic, in essence of that's what our relationship is based around as far as sexually to a point, yes. So there's definitely a difference between just full out having a sub and owning someone, whether it's owning them, collaring them, things like that. There's different dynamics in it. I haven't full out done that, but in a relationship dynamic, yes.
No, I have collared. That I have done.
Mm.
That I did do. Guess I'm putting all your sister's business out, Keisha. Mm-hmm.
See, I wasn't even gonna say nothing.
What?
Don't
See,
tell
but
anybody.
nobody gonna know if you ain't
So I have
said.
a question,
It's
Cupid.
okay. No.
You said you haven't owned one technically. So what led you to the role of master or dom, or what led you to that?
A lot of it is just the relationship dynamic. So finding out the things that I enjoyed in the bedroom, and then finding like-minded people in my like entering in relationships that they enjoy, and it's that consent conversation that you have at the beginning of any relationship as it develops. You find out what each other likes. You find out the dynamics, the things that you can push, the things that you can't push, things that you've tried and you want to try, or that they've tried and they enjoyed, and that maybe you are not as versed in. So that's how that comes about. And it's, when you're happy in a relationship and you're happy in the bedroom, most people are okay either way.
Okay. What about you, Cupid? What kind of led you, since you haven't done that piece yet, what kind of led you to wanting to be in that?
So actually getting into all of it was based on my relationship that I had for 7 years. My ex, who is my best friend now, she was a dominatrix in a dungeon. And when we met and started talking and stuff, she was like, I can smell the master on you. I can smell this. This is really, let me introduce you to this. So I ordered a book. I asked questions. We developed, she said, you can develop how you want. What do you like? And she allowed me to have that space. Because she always, even though she was a dominatrix in the dungeon, she didn't want to be dom in the bedroom. She wanted to be a submissive. So she gave me that opportunity to test all of that, all the things that I ever thought or imagined at that time. And it's just grown. And as I've, met people and listened to other people talk about their experiences, it might be, oh, let me find out about that. And I'm very much about controlling. I like that piece, to be able to control. The somewhat, I think you guys talked about it before, where we look like, or we assume that we are the controllers, when really we might not be. It might be really the switched around, and we're actually providing, the sub is really the controller. And I kind of like that concept. So I've just been kind of reading and gathering as much knowledge as I can.
Okay. So for the two of you then, like, what would you say, in your opinion, are qualities of like a good dom, in your opinion? Dom or master, since we're using both terms.
Before you answer that, Cupid, can you explain what a master is for those that don't know? Because we use dom a lot, but somebody may not know what master is. So can you kind of explain what that is?
For me, they're very similar.
Okay.
If you ask me, because it is a total control. I am in total control. I decide how things move. I think doms do the same thing. I just think it's just, which word do you prefer? I was introduced to master first, but I can't say that I'm not. I probably qualify as a dom as well. So I don't think there's a real big difference. It's basically I control when we play. Yes, you can give me hints that you want to play, but I don't want to play right now. I play when I want to play. Those are some of those times, so I think that's my interpretation of a master. I'm sure other people have their own, the thing that was a big thing is the collar was really played a lot in the knowledge or the research that I did for a master. I didn't see it as much in the dom environment, but I did see the collaring. There was a lot more of the leather play in the master role, and I just haven't really gotten into all of that.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to help the people out that may not know.
Yeah. So yes, thank you so much for that, Keisha. So back to that question, like, what qualities are there of a good dom, or what a good dom or master do you feel should possess?
First of all, credibility. Like someone that is going to enter or be willing to give themselves to another person to submit to that person has to feel comfortable and safe enough with that person to be able to do that. So if you're not credible in that role of standing in your presence and who you are, then no one is going to be willing to even have that conversation with you to get to that point, let alone jump off in there and say, hey, I don't know what the hell you about to do to me, but I'm okay with you doing that. Even though I don't trust you, I don't feel protected. Like no one is ever going to jump into that space with you. So being credible, being offering open enough to that safe space for that person is just off top for me number one. And you run into a lot of what you hear the terminology, the fake doms, the fake masters, because people enter those spaces with people who say, yes, I'm a dom, yes, I'm a master, call me sir, call me this, but don't have the credibility or the trust that they're able to gain from the individual, or let alone if you're in a space like a domination room or like a play party or any of those spaces where you have to kind of command that presence to even be recognized as that. So if you don't do that for me, then that, in my opinion, I guess I should say, would be just the number one quality of being any type of dominant, dom, master, whatever, sir, however you want to put it, you have to have that.
Okay.
I can agree with that. I also think I think you have to have an alpha quality. Everybody doesn't have that. People say it, and I've learned from listening to older doms and masters that they don't have to ever say that they're an alpha. It is already it's a smell. It's a sense that you get from them, and there's also that level of care. If you aren't caring about your sub or your partner, you're not going to be very good at it. If you're selfish, and it's just me, my personal opinion is that I'm not selfish. I might say yes, I'm selfish, but my selfishness is pleasing her, is actually controlling her, giving her that ecstasy. And I think that if you don't understand that, if you can't see, it's something like reading the room. If you can't read your sub and your partner, then you're not going to be very good at this. If you don't respect, that's another thing. And I think Cap was hitting on it very well. It's also respect. Major respect for the person that's giving themselves to you. They're trusting you with their care and their vulnerability.
Okay. Awesome. So I did want to ask with that, because since we're talking about qualities and good things in that, so I want to ask you, I guess this may be for you, Captivator, since you actually have had a dynamic in that way. So I'm trying to say how I can. What is your emotional intelligence quotient when it comes to the emotions behind it? Because especially with you being a brat tamer, because I know we had a question previously about how sometimes some dove or D types will be kind of abusive to their brats, and we'll explain brat as well. I'll have you explain what a brat is as well, because we talked about it in a previous one. How important is that to you? And then also for you, like, how are you able to regulate your emotions when your brat may be acting up and kind of inciting that response from you?
So I guess two part. First, what the brat is. A brat / age play sometimes. A brat is one that kind of wants their way at all times. It's very particular in how they want it, when they want it, and why they want it. And that can be anything. Since she's scratching her head because she is one. And it doesn't necessarily have to just necessarily mean in a sexual dynamic, right? So when people think
to put my business out there, Cap.
When people think of brats, they think just the sexual dynamic, but it's not just a sexual dynamic. It's just their personalities, that's who they am. And you find that in a lot of alpha females, a lot of career-driven, very powerful females, just simply because they always have to step into the workplace as owning the workplace, or they always have to step into whatever space they're in as, this is what I want, this is how we're going to do it, we're going to get it done. And they're in that position because they're able to do that, right? But when they step behind closed doors, or when they're with someone that they trust, they don't necessarily want to have to always be that alpha female. But you have to remember, 80% of their life is dealt with being that person. So you have to have that patience, that ability to understand when they're going into that mode simply because it's just them having a bad day, or they're in that mode because it's a, hey, I'm ready to play and I want punishment because I pleasure, the pleasure out of the punishment, not because I'm just acting like this because I had a bad day. So to be a brat tamer, and it's kind of conversation we were going about, having to regulate your emotions and having those fake brat tamers that kind of go overboard. It's having those patience and being able to read that, because sometimes you just need to read when your person just needs a hug. It's not them trying to overplay the situation or trying to do anything to excite you or make you go anyway. They might just have had a badass day and just genuinely need you to just hug them because they had a horrible day. Now you will have those times where they're just going to do it or be defiant just because they want to play further, you know what I mean? And that's when you have to be able to get into those situations. And that comes from those talks, knowing their boundaries, knowing their safe words, knowing what they have consented to and they haven't consented to. And when you're able to read your person like that, they trust that you're not going to go overboard. So the punishments or your ability to tame them is not going to be into the pain tolerance of just, okay, I hate this, I'm ready to get the hell away from you. It's still going to stay in that pleasure realm, no matter how intense another person outside of that might think it is. To them, they might enjoy it. Some people have very high pain tolerances that they're okay with, pushing the boundaries just a little bit.
So with that though, with that question too, what about a situation, because life be life, and sometimes where you personally are just not in the mood, and they are in that brat mode where they just want to be defiant? How do you regulate them there?
So that's just where no comes in place. I mean, the brat understands that dynamic, that no is sometimes just as it is a no. And that's when it kind of delves into the master dom kind of gray area, but it's a no when it's a no. You know what I mean? It's not okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do this because my brat is feeling bratty right now. It's a no, but that also
that's not fair.
It also has pleasure on the outside, because that no, the brat essentially knows that no is going to turn into a yes at some point, and it's going to be a better yes because now this person is in a mood. They might pout, they might kick, they might scream, they might be like, this is not this is not what I said, what I want. They're going to, go through their whole little spell. But in the end, they're like, okay, I know it's going to translate later, and this is going to be more pleasurable for me later than it is if they just say, I'm going to do it and I'm just going to get over it. So there's a such thing as no. They hate it, but there is a such thing as no.
That's so disrespectful.
So would that come into play? Because that kind of actually leads into another question that I had was, what is the difference between punishment and punishment?
Yes, I was going to ask that. Yes.
So I wanted to ask the two of you that question, like, what is the difference to you as Dom Master, like the difference between what a punishment that you will give to your sub or whoever, and punishment, because that is a term that we recently learned about. So
it is a real term.
It is a real term.
I don't think I've ever done the punishment part.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever. Maybe it was punishment by making them stop, or making or talking to them a certain way while in that act. But I don't think I've ever done a punishment on that level. I don't think the concept of punishment, I don't think I've ever done.
That's not punishment. That's edge play.
So maybe that's okay. So I would say then there you go. So I don't know the punishment part. So I will push other buttons and say things and hold out, or put you in a mode where you're almost there and then I stop, or tell you to tell me to stop. But I don't think I've done a punishment.
That's edging. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think I've done. I don't see. I'm learning new stuff. The verbiage to what I do. But I don't.
So you get to right there at that point,
and then I'm like, tell me to stop. Say it. And I'm looking you dead in your eye, and I'm like, I know you, or I'll tell you holding back, because you can tell when someone's holding back. So I'll be like, why you holding back? Oh, you don't want this. Okay, I'll stop. And then I want to hear them go, no. And that, but it's all the trigger piece for me. They have to trigger all of that to come out. So, but the punishment part, no. The fun stuff, yes. I'm down for all the fun stuff, but I don't think I've done punishment. So I'm interested to know more about that. I don't know if I'm interested to do it as much as knowledge.
Yeah, so those two things that you talked about are edge play and mental play. So being able to mentally fuck the people's mind up to where
Yes,
you
that's
can
me.
see other
I'm
stuff.
there for that.
Then that's that. And then the edge play, being able to get them to a certain point to where you're like, okay, either you're gonna stop, you're gonna tell them to stop, or you're going to stop because of a situation of a no, you can't touch me. If you touch me, I'm gonna stop, or no, this and that, or just simple things like that. The edge play, yes,
I love that.
that's definitely what that is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
The,
tell us about the punishment because I
the
don't know.
fun play is probably what you've done, different spanking, different things like that.
I don't know. I've done the spanking part.
Is more, I'm just saying, like in that terms of flogging, spanking, things like that is more of a sensual fun play. People consider it, I guess I should say, fun play because it is touching on those senses and the different avenues. So you got spanking, flogging, feathering, all that good stuff that quote unquote the normal world will say, okay, that's punishment. Punishments get extreme sometimes, but sometimes people like extreme punishments. Sometimes it doesn't. A punishment could simply be, hey, when I get home, I need you naked on your knees, but you can't touch me. So to them, it's like, well, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? But it's not I'm walking in to interact with them. You can literally walk in and ignore them. So now they're like, well,
disrespectful.
What the hell do I do? So to them, it's a punishment because now I can't interact with my person. I've seen people that have had to have a task list. Not a list. Have to do task lists for their partner.
Research, if anything.
Right.
Please do not go home tomorrow and get slapped because you try to do anything that I say to your people and your wife, girlfriend, whoever, husband, and whoever watching slap you because they say, "What the fuck is you doing? I don't know where you got this from." It is not my fault. I'm not responsible for any slapping or hitting that occurs in the response to this.
Absolutely.
Okay, my disclaimer. It could be task lists. It could be the old age, like so. I had a friend who actually their wife actually enjoyed kneeling in rice. Don't ask me because as a kid it's a trigger, right?
Right.
But to her it was the painfulness. So it's I'm gonna be good so that I can get up and then I can get pleased. So it's a different concept that she is going through her brain. But to the normal person, it's like that's a trigger. My mom used to have me do that. But to her, it's the pain is going through me. I'm going to be a good girl so that I can be recognized as a good girl. So now that I can get up and my partner can please me and take away all of this pain. So the punishments vary simply because you have to have those conversations. So the people that end up, punishing, hitting too hard, drawing blood, like things like that can be on the abusive side, sometimes pushing, sometimes shoving. Like now, some people like aggressive play. I'm not going to, that's something that's serious. But going too far when you haven't had consent or you haven't talked to that person or you don't know if that person is open to it is usually where the punishment side of it comes from. And it's way left field of the punishment portion. So.
Okay. So since we're talking about punishment and punishment, what safety protocols do you practice? Like SSC, prick, rack, like CCC, like what do you practice? And I'm giving this out for specifically because I want the two of you to explain what they are. But I did first want you to answer which one do you tend to practice?
I don't know if I can necessarily say one for me. Because usually when you enter a situation with a lot of newer people, when you start giving them those terminologies, they're like, what are you talking about? Type thing. So there are sheets, people. There's a website, there's sheets that you can actually fill out a physical spreadsheet of how far you will go with different things and what you're open to, and you can hand it to your partner, right? That gives them the basis to kind of go with which way you will go on certain things. And then you can get into these terminologies that Brittany said in reference from there. So the beginners, print the spreadsheet off and fill it out so that you can say, yes, I will go here. And then make sure you follow up after you actually do the thing to say, hey, that was too far, or no, that wasn't too far. And then start researching into the type of terms that helps you out. That's the best way that I try to tell people to go into it. Because what you said, I do multiple, so I kind of encapsulate them all into one. I can't really tell you this is the one thing that I do.
So, okay, so in your opinion, then, which one for somebody who may be beginning should start with? Maybe.
Ooh, it's a hard one because people are so different.
It's a
it's a personal.
It's what you. I think is you have to be honest of what you like.
Yeah.
I don't like. Don't hit me. I don't want it. I don't want that. I don't want to do that. I do kind of like the choking. Not me being choked, but me choking. I do kind of like those things.
My lights went out.
Uh-oh.
No, y'all good.
But I think that you have to find your you have to find your kink. You know, how nasty do you want to be? What is your imagination like? Do you watch porn? Do you not watch it? Have you found things that you go, oh, I like that? Or when people have conversations, have you said, I think that could be interesting? I think that's how you have to figure that piece out. Then you got to find the rules. Like Cap said, you got to go and look for the rules. And for me, we had conversations. She introduced me to it. So by her introducing me to it, I understood what her boundaries were up front and, everything. So that's a little bit different than me having a sub and us creating those boundaries together, if that makes sense.
Okay, so from your perspective, so there's not an actual safety protocol that you follow.
Not really.
No, I think it's going to be per your person that you're with and per the conversations. Because please understand, everybody doesn't get that. There's some people that have been in my life that I've been with, they have no idea that any of this ever existed in me.
Absolutely.
They didn't know, first of all, they didn't know how to trigger it. That's the number one thing. I'm not just going to come in. You'll get good vanilla, but it's vanilla sex. It's good. It's different. We'll do different things, but unless you trigger that I guess that other side of me, you're not going to get that person. You will never experience that. And that doesn't mean you're having a bad experience when you're with me. No, it just means that piece you don't get.
Yeah. So, I guess you could say the most common or the easiest one is just the caring side of it. Like, people want to know that they're okay going into the situation. So as long as you communicate just across the board with that person, as long as you have that credibility with that person and you follow up afterwards. So it's making sure that, hey, what we consented on is what we did. And then we came back to it. Which is kind of in all of them. Like, there's communication in all the terms, right? There's consent in all the terms. There's being able to acknowledge in some way in all the terms. So that's why I said you can't really tell one person like which would go for them. It's one of those, you have to find what is best and makes you feel the safest type thing.
Yeah, don't just jump in and start, slapping people. Like she said.
Hell no.
Don't just walk in your house and then go, you are now a submissive. That might not work well for you.
It won't.
Especially if you've never said anything, And I do think that when you have your conversation about intimacy, that's when some of these, what you might like to try, comes into play, and that's when you'll start getting into that communication, and then you'll start understanding. Your person will probably say, yes, I'm willing for you to do that, but what do I get when that happens? And that goes into the care part that Cap is talking about.
Right.
Yeah. I have a question. What do y'all consider consent? I know we talk about it, and some people that's probably been following us for forever will understand we talk about it, but what is your definition, or how do you look at consent with your person?
So I define consent as, if we can't talk about it, we can't do it. Point blank period. If we cannot have a conversation about it because you feel nervous or skeptical or whatever, then that means when the situation comes about, you're going to feel nervous and skeptical, right? If you can't say, I want you to choke me, I'm not going to choke you. If you can't say, hey, I'm interested in flogging, or I'm interested in being tied up, or maybe I like a silk rope instead of a different rope, or maybe I like if you can't have those conversations, then you're going to be nervous, or the consent is not there, right? Because you're going to get in a situation and say, wait a minute, we haven't talked about this, or wait, what are you doing? So now you're nervous. Now you're not open to the whole experience of it. So if we can't talk about it, then we can't do it. And that talk about it might be, like I said, that sheet of paper where you go through it and you're like, okay, I might be interested in this, or I might be interested in that, right? That opens the door to the conversation of things that you might not have known was possible, or that you've even tried. But at the end of the day, if we can't talk about it, then yeah, we can't do it.
I agree with that. And if you take the test that we've talked about, or you might suggest, hey, my friend was talking about this. Hey, take the test. And you take the test, and then let's see what it says. That always is a good way to start the conversation, to be able to formulate if you even are wanting to do those things to get the consent. Me personally, I need a very verbal and loud yes, we can do this. Because I don't want nobody to have no misunderstandings. DeKalb County, I don't need nobody knocking at the door telling me something. Hello, we had heard. Nope. We have to have very much yes. Yes, I understand. Yes, I want to do this. Yes, I'm feeling safe with you. And I feel like that, and that you don't have to do it every single time once you know the person, but your conversation, I think that communication is very important.
Absolutely.
So since we're talking about consent, and there is a question that I want to go back to after I ask this, is because we're talking about consent, and from what I'm hearing, it seems like both of you have been in these roles typically from a relationship standpoint. So I kind of want to talk about vetting then, because before you can get consent, I would assume the vetting we need to happen first. So how important is vetting in this process for you, or in your opinion? Either one can answer first.
Oh, it's going to be very important for me. Very.
Mm-hmm. People get crazy. No, it's very important. You have to be intentional with your questioning. You have to be intentional with how you answer questions. And you have to be intentional with different spaces that you have the conversation, because you don't want to have the conversation in a space that's not comfortable for both parties, because you're not going to get true answers and true representation of what that person may or may not be open to. There's different things like dungeon rooms and play parties and things like that hold a little bit more credibility in reference to, because I hate to say those people have references, but the people kind of in essence, without lack of better terms, they have a reference because they've been there, or they understand the lifestyle or the love style, or they understand kind of what to expect, or what they're thinking about, or they've already done or haven't done, so that those type of questions are a little easier for you to vet in those people, because again, they necessarily have references. People that want to delve into the complete sub realm and have a contract, or maybe people are in relationships that want just a sub, or they're single and they want just a sub under contract, I tell people to definitely ask intentional questions with that, but also have references. Make sure this is not a new person, this is the first time they've ever subbed, because they don't understand the dynamic of the dom sub master sub relationship. So those are the type of people that you probably do want to find out. Okay, have you had another master? Have you had another dom? Why did this relationship end? First of all, how did it end? What kind of dynamics did you guys have? What was off limits? And essentially, those people that are in the lifestyle that are 100% subs don't mind telling you who their dom or who their master was, because they feel comfortable, because that's who they are. So you can actually ask that person those same questions to kind of understand where they came from and what happened.
And I think you also to me, it's like there's a vanilla sub, which is someone who just likes to be not the pillow princess, but she just likes to be the submissive in your sexual bedroom kind of situation. And then I think there's one that is like Captain said, she's experienced what an actual sub is in this particular arena. And I think I found that now I draw the women who are already having that experience. They know what they like. They know all of the different languages. So I consider myself like a baby, I'm a, lightweight. So therefore, it is I'm attracting those women that know what their type, what type of sub they are. If they're a brat sub or what kind of sub they are, they know. So it's a little easier for me to vet than to have somebody who does no idea that I just met. And when I say what I bring to the table in that arena, they don't look strange and go, oh, that's not, I don't know about that. So I think that's another thing, is that I just haven't been in a circle where I'm not meeting just vanilla subs, I guess you could call it, or I've called it.
But I got a quick question. So what questions should they be asking in vetting? I know for someone that's new, let's just say they've never done it, want to do it. Like, can y'all give an example of maybe what a dom should ask or what a sub should ask in the vetting process? Like 1 or 2 questions. It doesn't have to be a lot.
I don't know if there's questions where it's just conversation.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
it's more like a conversation. It's not really me going, and question number 3, do you like if I put my thumb in your ass? I don't think that's what we do. I think it's in conversations. And I think that's because we take it, and I'm assuming, Cap, correct me if I'm wrong, our experiences have been more relationship, so therefore you're getting a different type of vetting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, I think there are specific questions if you're going into the I'm just trying to get a sub
Okay.
type thing. I don't think it becomes as specific with relationship based because the trust and the care and that portion of it is already there. But understanding what the sub wants out of the relationship, because essentially it is about them also. It's not just about the dom, their self. So understanding what the sub wants out of the relationship. Does the sub have any expectations entering the relationship, as far as that goes into the conversation of particular things that they like, dislike, or anything like that? Because they might be getting vetted by a dom or a master that doesn't specialize in things that they like. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't make any sense for them to get vetted by somebody that they're going to get in this contractual relationship, and it's nothing that's going to benefit them either. Same vice versa, to where the dom might be a sensual dom, but this sub is into leather play. It's not going to work because it doesn't help them, because you're being more sensual as a dom. Well, this person likes leather play, which is usually a little more aggressive. Y'all two are not necessarily going to be a good match. So the initial questions that you do want to ask are questions as such, but it does stem from conversations. You have the conversations, you're flirting, you're into it, and it leads into those specific vetting questions that you would need to ask, because you still want to be matched up to a particular sub. You don't want just to say I have a sub.
Okay. Yeah, we did have someone ask, like, doesn't questions during vetting lead to conversation though?
Yes.
So that was a question. But I did, because we had a question earlier, and I want to make sure that I addressed her question, because the same person said, I have a question. Edging and edge play was mentioned. So there's a difference between edging and edge play, or do they both mean the same?
So they both can be essentially the same. Edging is essentially what it's called for the person. So you're getting them close to the edge and they're stopping. That is the actual edging. Edge play is the actual acts that you are doing to get them to the point of explosion and you're stopping. So the edging is the actual what you're doing. But edge play is the acts that you are doing. So whether it's having them stop, not touching you, those different things is what the edge play is. But getting them to that almost climax and then stopping, that is actually edging. Hopefully that cleaned it up.
Okay. And then also we were talking about, when you were mentioning like independent women and dealing with like subs, baby girls, brats, and slaves and those things. There was a question from a dom perspective or a master perspective. Why are some women afraid to submit and be in that and possibly be in this role? Because like I said, from my understanding with the two of you, your experience in these roles are relationship and not because I'd also want to express to everybody that being in a dynamic or a relationship, as you would call it, captivator, doesn't always have to be in a relationship setting. It could be just two consenting adults who decide to enter into a dynamic that do not have any type of romantic, intimate, or intimacy outside of that particular scene or dynamic. So I
Correct.
just want to put that out there.
Right.
So it doesn't always have to be somebody in your relationship with. It could be somebody that you're not.
It could be your friend with benefits. Mm-hmm.
I would
Let's
not
not.
have that argument. We're not
We
going-
are
we're not
not
going-
I'm
about
joking.
to
I'm
go
joking.
there.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
We're
We're
not
not
going
about to
there.
go there, okay?
The argument. But
And for
I'm
those
joking.
that don't know,
I'm
catch
joking.
stud and
But
films,
yes.
I'm joking. But yes.
film and studs, however you want to look at it, about friends with benefits. But we're not going to bring that here.
I understand. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Quiet.
I think that's the question.
Okay.
So, if from a dom or master perspective, why do you feel like some women or men may be afraid to be submissive or to submit?
Right.
Because people are, come on, guys. Because there's dodo heads out there.
Wait, no.
In the funk.
People,
say
okay,
they this, that, and the
so
other,
people
and they not.
assume.
You know, you like. I'm not trying to be. I'm being serious. It's like I don't claim to be the master of all masters of masters and mastering. Okay, I claim to be my kind of master, right? But I know what my limit is. And I know my knowledge limit. Some people don't even have the knowledge. They just go, whoop, I'm gonna be that because that's the cool thing to be. And then you're toxic. You're a toxic individual with a million bags of luggage. You have no healing, and now you want to do what should be a sexual pleasurable thing to someone. And then that's why a lot of people won't trust that. That's why it's very difficult for them to trust because of all of those things. That's just me, my opinion. I'm sorry.
Okay, captivated. Yes.
So, my opinion, right? Let me just put that disclaimer. I feel like that people, women, men, whoever, however you want to put it, do not want to submit to their partner because they feel like that if they get rid of all of their power, then they are helpless. People don't realize that when you submit to someone, you are sometimes honestly the most powerful person that is in the room. If they don't submit to you to be able to allow you to do the things that you are capable of doing, it's not going to happen, right? Say they have all the power. You can be in the middle of an act or middle of doing something or inflicting something or tying something up, and they give you a safe word or or their word. You have to stop. They own all the power. But to other people or to the outside person who doesn't want to submit, they see it as them losing their power. They see it as they are less than or they are beneath the person that has all the power, which is the complete opposite. It's not in essence of I'm giving you my power because I want to feel hopeless and powerless, right? I'm essentially showing you that I am strong enough to give you my power in this moment to do and to please me, right? But I still have all the power because I can stop you in 2.5 seconds. So
don't you think that's kind of that if you don't understand that, then you're not gonna respect your submissive, don't you think?
No, I think you can respect someone who is strong enough in their person to give you their power. I don't know if it's necessarily anything degrading or like that, because in my opinion, in my experience, the most powerful people, I'll say women because of course I deal with women, the most powerful women are the most submissive that there is, simply because they understand the power behind them submitting to the right person, right? Keyword in that sentence, to the right person. They understand the power and the pleasure and the comfort, the security, the all of that it gives them in submitting. So I think people are so wrapped up in, I need to be in control because when I'm in control, I'm able to dictate what narrative that there is, that I can't feel less than that because I'm not, look, the new term, I'm not a boss bitch, not standing on business because I relinquish my power. It's not what it is. Like, you have the ability to still have the power by giving someone your power, but not only have you given them your power and standing in it, now you have comfort, now you have security, now you have pleasure, you're receiving pleasure. You're like, there's a trickle down effect of you simply saying, I trust you with me in your hands. So
Absolutely.
Okay. So, as a second part to that question, um, for the two of you, what non-sexual and sexual qualities do you possess that would make someone want to submit to you?
I
You can
think that's
start
our
with that.
community. I think for both of us, I'm gonna speak for you, Cap. Let me know. I think it's communication. I mean, that's what she preaches that. I've been talking about that. So I think that's our major thing is the fact that we are willing to hear you and we are also we want to communicate. We want to hear what you want and what you need, as well as communicate what we want and need. So I do think communication is the number one when it comes to that.
yeah, I
Okay.
definitely think communication is one. I think because still as being a dom, which we've had a couple talks of my living in my quiet dominance, um, I can still be that dom and live in my feminine and my masculine energy, right? So being able to understand the sub from that side, but still possess that dominant quality, that dominant personality. To still offer the comfort, the security, all the things of that. So I think that would be my nonverbal thing. Um, I've said many times on this podcast and I mean on this and on the Stud vs. Films, you know what I mean? It's definitely the communication, but if I can't mind fuck somebody, then I'm not even going to go into any other realm because I need to be able to stimulate your mind. So I think that power of being able to stimulate a person's mind offers that security and and that's again, like Keepa said, it comes through communication. If you can't communicate, if you can't talk, then no one is going to feel safe. No one is going to be that. And I think to go even further with the communication is if you can't communicate that and stand on what you communicate, then you lose all your credibility and you lose your ability to even possess any of that stuff.
And you have to know yourself. I think that's another key. Um, and that's standing on what you say is to know who you are as a dom or master. You do definitely have to know who you are. You can't you cannot fake the funk on that because you will have somebody's trust and their vulnerability in your hands. So I think that's a major key as well.
Okay. And then I had just have one more. So, since we're talking about that, so are you in your dom or master role? Would you consider yourself like hard to please? Like, what is your expectations from your submissive baby girl, brat, or what have you to please you? Like, what are some of those expectations you have?
I don't know if hard to please, because I find pleasure in pleasing my person. So I don't know if hard to please would be um, a thing because I think if you have that communication and the mental stimulation is there, then the pleasure is going to go both ways. I'm going to enjoy pleasing my person because it's an extension of the mental stimulation, but it's also something that I genuinely enjoy doing. But that stimulation is not one way. If we're able to have genuine conversations, it's both ways. So the pleasure is going to go both ways for me. I don't know about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I very much want to please my person, so I'm gonna get if I know I'm pleasing her and she's letting me know that, then of course I will be very happy. I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Cap on that one.
So you guys don't have any like specific expectations of your submissive brat, baby girl, or anything else like that.
Other than just being open and being able to communicate, I definitely want that person to be open to exploring, open to receiving what it is that I am providing at that moment, regardless of if it's, a physical act, a sensual act, a mental act, that type of thing. But all of that stems from, again, that communication piece. But my expectation is just to stand in that submissive, energy. But again, if I'm providing what I'm supposed to provide, they feel comfortable in standing in being a submissive. It's not a question or uh, kind of a hesitation during that process. So
Okay, that makes sense. Keisha, did you have any questions? I'm sorry, I've been just
Oh
rattling off.
no, because I'm sitting here like, okay. Okay. I'm taking it all in. I'm like, I'm learning something from the other side tonight. So, I did. Hold on. I saw the question I wanted to ask. Um, hold on.
Distracted.
Mm-mm. Shut up. Name your top three kinks and why.
Oh.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the why. I might not, like, I don't know if I know the why on why I like that. I don't know.
Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set.
Oh, I thought she was going. I'm going. Okay.
Oh, it doesn't
Um,
matter. Look, I got to think about that one. Go ahead, Cap. Go ahead.
I like edge play, so that is one. The why is we got to provide whys now, but edge play would be for me. The why is just it's an extra control piece. Because the edge play is not necessarily always me doing anything. Sometimes that is making that person do something to themselves, and I still am able to control it. So it's the control piece of, being able to essentially decide when you are pleased, type thing. Another one for me would be, I don't know what you want to call it. Kind of the asphyxiation, erotic asphyxiation. So everyone thinks that there's only one way to choke or one way to kind of. I guess the ultimate goal of asphyxiation is just kind of temporarily cutting off the oxygen, providing an extra rush. But there are different ways to choke. There's different ways to do that. So I enjoy finding ways that works for me as well as my person. But that again is a different control piece because different ways that you are able to put them in different holds or choking or with things around the neck, you go too deep into what you can do. You're still able to control them because you can move them how you want to and when you want to. So this is still providing that control piece. And then I do live in my sensual domination some, and with that comes different. I guess it's kind of all in one because you'll have impact play, you'll have different sensual play, you'll have play with the different sensory play. So that's kind of all in the same sensual domination. So I definitely enjoy that, and that's another piece of kind of the control thing. So whether you're whipping, whether it's candles, whether it's a
Soy
type,
base.
yeah, it's a soy base, not Bath and Body.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
soy, please.
Made that
Please,
mistake.
soy
People made
base.
that mistake. Don't they?
Not Bath and
Please.
Body Works. Don't go on the scale and do an extra candle. No, soy base.
Anytime somebody mention candles, I'm on soy base, please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Soy base.
soy base. You
Yeah.
gonna be in the hospital.
Right. So that or sensory play, taking away a sensory, enhancing another sensory, impact play, whips, chains, floggers, things like that. It's all about the control of how much pain that I give to them supplies how much pleasure that they receive. So those would be my three.
Okay.
Now that I know like some terms,
You need some? Do I need to rattle off some? Do I need to rattle off some terms?
I got some terms I can say now. Because I didn't know what stuff was called. I just knew I liked doing it. But the edge play thing is as I've mentioned before, I really like. Now that I know that's what it's called. Why it is a control. I do like that control piece where I can say, okay, well, I don't think you into this, or what you holding back for, or give me what I want. And then you don't want to, then tell me to stop. So that I like that part of it. I'm primal, which means I am very animalistic. So there's smell. I will, and I'm sure it's going to be weird to some people. But once I'm with you, I can smell you anywhere. Like I can be in a room with a bunch of people, and it's like if you've ever seen True Blood, where the vampires could smell Snooky, like the fairies, they could smell like cookies and stuff. It's kind of like that, and I know that's the only way I can describe it. Is that it is that, and that to me is a major enhancer of turning me on to make me want to play, kind of thing. That is a trigger to want to play. If I can smell you, if I can get that connection with you, then yeah, the primal piece comes out. Yes, I do growl. I don't bark, and I lightly bite. So it's that kind of thing. And I don't actually mind if she did that, biting. Just don't take chunks out.
Lead a mark. It's okay. Lead a mark.
Yeah, I don't mind a little mark. I don't mind, but
Lead a mark.
I'm a snack, not a meal. That's how
I'm a 5-course meal, so lead a mark.
Yeah, I'm not. I got Band-Aids, but please, let's try not to. My last one is a new one for me that I didn't really know. But now I think I'm gonna like it, and it's the brat taming. And I think I do it and didn't know that's what it was. I'm very big about sitting in a space with no clothes and not touching.
What?
Yeah.
Lights keeping on now. All right.
There you go.
When you got sensor lights, that's what they do.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Sit still.
So, you got to keep moving around, keep doing something. So the brat taming for me is, I thought it was new, but as I've kind of thought about things, I really like that. Being able to have her in her vulnerability, and no, you can't touch me and I can't touch you, but I can smell you. I can
That no is the
I can
devil.
get here and I can be and breathe. I can feel your breath on me. That's kind of stuff. Yes. So those are the things, and all of it is controlling.
Right.
All of it is.
So I'm gonna give you 2 new ones for you. Okay.
Ooh, I'm ready.
Which I believe you are, right? So I believe you play in the power exchange dynamics, which is you want someone to basically completely give you control, so that you can control the situation, right? And then there's another one that is the top dynamic, right? The top dynamic is basically the person who enjoys the bondage, the inflicting kind of light pain through the bondage, leather play, things like that. So I think those 2 you should research.
I think I'm going to, because when you was showing a couple of things, like I've said before, people, if you have not gone to see BDSM 101, you need to, because it'll bring a whole new light to you. I didn't even know I was even interested in some of those things, because I know how to hold you and stop you and constrain you, so to speak, without having those items. But when I saw the items,
I'm ready for part number 2. I'm ready for part 2 on that one, to go into the mood.
I got new notebooks, so yes, we want that. Yes, I'm down for that. But I do think so. And then I found through the test that it also called me a voyager. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll watch all day. Mm-hmm. Nah, I'm sorry. That's just me being nasty. I will, if you start something, I'm just gonna sit there. You don't say nothing to me like, hey, do you mind? I am gonna sit right there and go.
Yep. Top play and power exchange. Research.
I am. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And again, anybody who's watching this, if you hear these terms, watching this show, the Art of Submission show, or the BDSM 101, where we did have the demonstration with Captivator, please make sure, again, to do your research.
Please.
Please research everything, because like I said, we're throwing out these terms and these situations, these dynamics here. So if anything does pique your interest, please make sure you research. Yeah. And we were mentioning a test and everything like that. So we're gonna put the link in the comments. There's 2 tests. There's one specifically about kind of, you can take a shorter or long one. BDSM, and it kind of tells you what you may be interested in based upon your answers. And then there's also another test that kind of goes more into, I think it was the fetishes. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it kind of goes and kind of talks to you or shows you what fetishes or kinks you may be leaning towards.
Right. And there's a short and a long test on the fetishes too. Take the long test, because it will break down your major fetishes, and then it will go into subcategories of what other fetishes that you have also.
Yes. So definitely take the long test when you have the time, have these conversations. Absolutely. So we have another question, because we're actually towards the end of it. So if you have any questions for the Q&A portion of this, we're definitely going to start that now. I don't want to keep our Doms and Masters for too long, but I want to make sure that everybody who has a question can answer. So we have one that comes through and it says a top dynamic or top play, is that the same as a service top? And was this stated to be a kink? I just wanted to make sure I heard this correctly. So I think that a captivator, that was when you were talking about top
No, for
dynamics and
me,
top play.
yeah, for me to look that up.
Yeah, so these are different. These are different. So top play, service top, top dynamic, they're all different. So top dynamic is kind of the overall thing of it, but once tops is one of those things that you can get into and you can kind of go down a rabbit hole, right? Because a top in a lesbian relationship is a little different dynamic. The tops in a male relationship is kind of different. The tops in a straight relationship is kind of different. So yes and no to your question, Monique. There's definitely a whole rabbit hole you can go down, but the gist and overall, that's why I told Cupid to make sure research to find which one she falls up under, and that fits for her. But for the most part, the top play, or a top, I guess I should say, is someone that just enjoys the bondage side of the BDSM world, as well as inflicting some sort of pain through the bondage, right? Because there's difference from inflicting pain, whether it's through flogging or whipping or something like that, and inflicting pain through the bondage side of it. Two totally different things. That's why I said again, research it because there is different top play and service tops are definitely completely different.
And you have to
Okay.
tailor it to you. And that's why I think it's really important that you know who you are and what you like. So that way you'll know when you see, like, now that I know these, like, now that I have this great vocabulary now I will, but now I can actually explain, instead of having to explain what I like, I can just say this is what it's categorized as. And I think that's something that if you're one of the person like myself, where you can explain what you like, that's a great step too.
Mm-hmm.
And now you get the terms that go with it. So, but you gotta know who you are. You gotta be very solid, whether you are submissive or a dom or master. You gotta be really understanding of who you are, because and you gotta know your triggers as well. I think that's real important too.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much for that. So we got a few minutes. So yes, we have both of the tests in the comment section. So please take the time, take the test. Does anybody have any more questions they want to offer? But while we're waiting on anybody to comment question, I did have one last question. And it would be, what advice would you offer to somebody that wants to try out being a dom or master, or in this type of relationship dynamic in the kink life?
Research play parties and dungeon parties, or something that is going to offer you a guide. It's not something that you want to just jump into yourself, because there is a lot of research that needs to go into it before you just jump into it. So that way you aren't seen as one of the fakes, or you aren't seen as someone who is inexperienced, and then you get with somebody that is experienced and now they're looking a little crazy. But if you go to the kink parties, the play parties, the dungeon parties, things like that, there are usually people who take people under their wing and kind of teach them. So you're able to see different stuff. So you're interested in trying to, flog someone. When they have that demonstration or that act at that party, they also open it up at the end to people who are newer, to be able to do it. But that's also because they have the sub who is usually involved with that, who is experienced enough to kind of know how to take a newer person. And it's not, they have a higher tolerance. So it's something that they're used to doing. So that would be my advice for someone who is interested in becoming a dom. Seek someone who is one, who has a little bit more experience, or do those play parties, the kink parties, the dungeon rooms, because they usually have instructors, or they usually have people who take people under their wing and kind of show them. Or if they're going through a scene of something, whether it's bondage play or impact player or something like that. They usually open it up to people who are interested to kind of test them out and see what they're interested in.
Where would someone find these parties? Or
So so there's a couple of different groups on Facebook, ironically. But honestly, if you Google around your local area, some of the larger areas, of course, have more than the smaller towns. But they have a couple people that actually tour and do these parties. If you look up lifestyle clubs, not all the lifestyle clubs are just swingers clubs that expect people to swing. Some of them are clubs that actually have um, different events, like the lifestyle parties and things like that, that allow you to enter them and enter into that space to where you feel comfortable and that you can explore that. So that would be my first thing to tell people. Look up lifestyle clubs because they do offer people that come in on different nights and things like that that expose people to that type of lifestyle.
There are a couple of clubs in Atlanta. I know one was, I don't know if it still exists, guys, but it used to be called the Red Door. Now there is a Red Door that is a cigar bar, very different. Very different, but there is, I do believe there was and I think it's still in existence, and it's downtown Atlanta. There's one called Swing, I believe, and then there's the Red Door. And those are places that I have not personally been to. I've been wanting to go, but I have not gone. But I've been told that they are very welcoming to new education. You know, they'll educate you and talk to you and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I think I'm not one to be outside just playing in it. So I'm looking with a relationship. So I think it's a little different than what Cap was talking about.
Okay, so we actually had a question for you specifically, Cupid. It says, how does one become a master? Is there some kind of formal training involved, or is it kind of like self-proclaimed?
I lucked up. My partner was a dom, as I mentioned, a dominatrix, as I mentioned earlier in the show. And so her being in that arena and being a dominatrix in a dungeon, she didn't want to be dominant in our bedroom. So she wanted to be a submissive. So she helped educate me. And that is a good way if your partner is already in that as even as a dominatrix or a sub, then she can actually help you to enter into that environment. And so she recommended a book for me to read. I did it. I remember I gave her first, what I call it. I had 3 stages of collars that I was going to give. So I gave her first one, and we pretty much stayed at that level for a while. But because we're best friends, I can always call her and ask her about anything.
She's my best friend.
Our best friend. But yes, we
putting your lady business out.
But I do think that the big thing I think that you can take from what Cap said just a minute ago is to go adventure into those environments. Look and see. Don't go as a participant. Go as a voyager, basically, to see. And then be honest with yourself. Get you a journal and write down what you like. Just imagine if you like role play. Like, would you want to have your girl meet you at the club and you don't know each other and, hey, I'm going to holler at you and you know, we're going to play this out. And then we get hot and heavy in the back seat of the car like we don't know each other. You know, those are things that are part of this as well. But you have to start figuring out what you like. That's the big thing. What you like. You know, then you ask her what she like. If you have a partner, ask her what she like. And y'all can experiment together.
Absolutely. So we got some Tish from saying yes, role play. So yes, I agree with Captivator. Definitely research.
Yeah.
There are plenty of lifestyle clubs. Like you said in Atlanta, I believe the Red Door is still there. But there's also other groups that you could be in. Like in Atlanta, I believe it's called Dark Kink, which is ran by a Black queer non-binary individual and their partner. So they have a lot of things on Instagram where they have monthly parties once a month where you can come in. They teach about like afterplay and different things like that. They have demonstrations. So definitely, if there's anything that you're interested in, Instagram, Facebook, social media is the best way to find these places where you can be in a safe space to ask questions. And there's, always people willing to educate and everything. That's why we say if there's anything that was discussed that we've discussed previously and even tonight, definitely make sure you research. Um,
Absolutely.
so I want to say, so it doesn't look like we have any more questions for the night.
One more
We
thing,
kind of
Monique, go watch the Art of Submission, the first one that they did. Go watch that one as well, and then watch the BDSM 101. I think those are nice ground leveling beginning of your foundation to help you as well.
right. And Tish, we had a comment. Tish said, "I'm so curious, but I'm so scared at the same time." Don't be scared, girl.
Girl,
Tish,
get
we just
over
talked
it.
about this
Stop being
weekend.
scared.
We just talked about this weekend, Tish.
Stop being scared, girl. Just give in. It's
There you
okay.
go. Throw your hands in the air. There you go.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
But also understand, like this show is everybody's individual opinions. This is their perspectives. We None of us are the official word on all of this. So that's why we encourage again research, and everything like that. So I want to thank our dom and our masters for coming
Yeah.
in and
Thank
everything,
you.
kind of sharing some knowledge with us. We appreciate it. We may actually do a part 2 to this because we're supposed to have Mr. Onyx Knight coming through. So we may have to work out scheduling, and we may have them come back in to kind of speak some more again to give another perspective, maybe a perspective that's outside of a relationship realm too, to kind of offer all variables, because I firmly believe that everybody, whatever you into, as long as you're not hurting somebody else or yourself. I mean, even if it hurts just a little, I guess. But like, as long as you're not killing nobody, do what you do. So I think it's important again to know yourself, which is the overall theme of this. Communication, consent, vetting, all of these things are very, very, very important when we're talking about this. So again, research, research, research. Thank you again, Cupid. Thank you again, Captivator. I'm gonna take you guys down, and then me and Keisha are gonna get some information for our upcoming shows for the next 2 months. So I'm really excited about this. So, how did you like this show tonight?
You know what? I'm gonna be completely honest. I thought I was ready for the show, which I was, but I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm supposed to be asking questions, and I'm sitting up here like, dang, for real? Okay. And so it was great. Like every time we have a special guest that's gonna tell us about some stuff, I be forgetting I'm hosting too because I'm like, some of this stuff I know and some of this stuff I don't know. So tonight's show was absolutely freaking amazing. We had some awesome guests to be able to show and explain. Well, explain, not show. They didn't show anything. To be able to explain certain things and then seeing it from different levels. Like you said, hey, I'm a master and I may not know as much, and then Captivator coming in. So we kind of get it from two different perspectives. So tonight was amazing. It really was. What you think about it?
I like it too. I definitely think it was really good. It was informational. And like I was saying, everybody, again, this is our personal, we're not reflective of our independent organizations and companies. This is our personal opinions
Right.
and our personal experience. So I
Yes.
think it was a really good show. I'm definitely think we should absolutely do a part 2 and give the Dom some more shine and get
Yeah.
them back in. And we may even do a part 2 of Art of Submission. Maybe we'll have maybe some brats come through, some slaves and some other S types. So I think it'd be really cool as we go along to offer more perspectives,
Absolutely.
because we honestly, with this community in particular, like it goes deep, people. That's why I'm telling you to research. It can go so deep, and unfortunately, we just don't have enough time to go as
Never
deep
have
as we
enough.
would like to.
And that's
Um,
why we hit up part twos because people were like, wait, can we do another one? Can we do another one? Can we do another live demonstration? Can we do another one?
exactly.
So
So
it's
yes, there will be a part 2 to the live demonstration. There'll be a part 2 to the art of submission, and definitely a part 2 to the art of dominance
yes,
coming within this. But so next month
next
is
month.
April. And I'm a poet by heart. And with April being National Poetry Month, I asked my co-host if she would like to do an erotic poetry show. So I'm really excited about that. And she said
Y'all
yes.
cannot wait. If y'all aren't friends or following Brittany, I would encourage you to do so because she'll have her poetry moments.
Yeah.
And baby, I'll be like, dang, coach, yeah.
Yeah.
So if y'all just want a snippet of what next month is going to look like, I encourage you to follow Brittany. And baby, she be giving me life. I be like, and it don't be long either. It just one of those like, damn, I ain't even think about it. Like, damn. I'm telling
Listen,
y'all.
listen.
Y'all don't want to miss next month.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If the stroke is right, it ain't gotta be that long. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it is right, it ain't gotta be that long. You ain't gotta put that much in it. But
Baby, let me tell
so,
y'all. I be like, damn, how long? How long?
so I'm really excited because I'm going to reach out to some of my poetry friends. And I've worked with a lot of erotic poets. I've also, worked alongside a couple of different groups. So I'm gonna see if maybe I can get some of my Punani poet friends to come through and split a little something for us. So in honor of Poetry Month, and then of course, Quiet Dominance, I'm gonna have some ladies coming through spitting their shit for us. So I'm really excited about
I
that.
cannot wait, y'all. I
And
cannot
then,
wait.
so then we're gonna have fun in April, and then May we're gonna kind of take the show in a little bit of a different way. And we're gonna talk about something a little serious.
Yeah.
And this show will be about domestic violence. So really important to us, and to kind of talk about things that happen in our community. And I think that May is one of those months. I didn't want to wait until Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is in October, to talk about this because there's been a lot of things going on in the news lately that's kind of troubling to me. And I want to kind of talk about subjects with this show that are taboo. And let's be honest, a lot of intimate partner violence, domestic violence, a lot of it can be sexual in nature and stem from rejection of some kind and in these intimate relationships.
Right.
So we definitely want to talk about that. So that'll be our show for May.
And
Um,
if we will put a warning that it could be a trigger. So
yeah,
keep that in mind. That will be a disclaimer. It could be some triggers. With that, we may try to get a therapist on to see if, she can kind of be on standby or what have you. Don't know yet, but we'll work through it.
yes, we will absolutely have a licensed professional on to kind of talk about some things that maybe come up, some signs that people need to look for, and some resources for individuals that may need help.
Yes.
Because it's quite possible, people may need that. So that'll be what we have for May, but I'm super excited about what we've got coming up in April and May. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in to
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank you.
Make sure that you look at those previous shows because after May, June is Pride Month. It is also my birthday month. So we're
Yes.
going to do something for the LGBTQIA elemental P group.
Yes. The alphabet community.
And it actually may be another in-person show because we
Yes.
gonna be in New Orleans. I'm just saying. So maybe another in-person show. There may be another demonstration. I don't know. We might be able to pull something together for that. So,
Right. So
so
yes, the first weekend in June.
yes.
Definitely meet us in New Orleans.
So make sure
Absolutely.
you follow my co-host Keisha. Make sure you follow myself at Brittany Lady Poetry Stroud on Facebook. Make sure you follow Real Boys Talk on both Facebook and YouTube. Also, make sure you follow Captivator, the Concerned Human. And book is coming out. I'm not sure if it's out already. It should be
It's
coming out.
out.
I'll ask Captivator to comment that in the comment section so you guys know where to get the book or
Yes.
where to pre-order if it's not out yet because pre-orders matter, people.
Yes. It is
Pre-orders
out
matter.
on Amazon. Hopefully she is still on here typing. But it is
Oh,
out.
so it is out. So yes, so it is out. So make sure you grab it. And then everything like that. Follow Cupid. So thank you again. Do you have any messages to take us out, Keisha?
No, I just can't wait to next month, y'all. I cannot wait. Thank y'all for coming in. Share, share, share. And in the words of Cupid, take what we talked about here and have a conversation with your friends and keep the conversations going.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good one.